Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and today we are going to be doing a Magic the Gathering deck, and it's mostly a pre-bought with a little bit of like additions that I've done over the years. We played Kiora the Crashing Wave, and for those of you who've played, I want to say this was Theros-ish, is when this Planeswalker gets introduced. She's really cool. It allows me to play a nice blue-green. So, as usual, I want to give you guys like the land bits first. So I'm going to run 10 islands. I'm going to run 10 forests. I could probably cut these down by one each to make this a 60 card deck instead of a 62. And I also play a single copy Temple of the False God. So the way this one works, outside of the other ones just tapping for green and blue, this one taps to add 2 colorless to the mana pool. And you activate this ability only once you control 5 or more lands. So really, this was like really cool for like Eldrazi-ish type decks back then. And honestly, a good card for commanders. But that's the first 21 cards. Then we need to talk about everything else in the main. So of course, we've got one copy of Kiora. This came with the structure deck back in 2015. She casts on 4, comes in with 2 loyalty or 2 devotion. I'm not sure which one it is. Her +1 until the end of your next turn, prevent all damage that would be dealt to and dealt by target permanent and opponent controls. So you basically just kind of take somebody out of the fight. For a -1, you can draw a card and play an additional land this turn, which is very useful. And for a -5, you get an emblem, which is kind of like a game effect. And the emblem will state at the beginning of your end step, place a 9/9 blue Kraken creature token onto the battlefield. Now, for those of you that are more versed in Magic, let me know, were emblems considered a type of permanent, or were they considered more like a token that's just not targetable? I don't remember. It's been a while since I've been like good at Magic or just played in general. And honestly, it'd be good to know. Next up, we used 4 copies of the Bounding Krasis. This 3/3 casts in on 3. It's a mixed bag of blue, green, and other. It is flash, so you can cast it whenever you can cast instant. When the Krasis enters the battlefield, you may tap or untap target creatures. So not only was it a good play, can you drop it on your opponent's turn, block, technically, you get to block 2 with it because you could tap somebody, so this way they can no longer be eligible for an attack. So that's pretty cool. Next up, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Coiling Oracle, and as you guys can tell, one of them is from a set. 2 of them came from the structure, which is why they all look a little bit different. It's going to be a 1/1 on 2, 1 blue, 1 green. When the Coiling Oracle enters the battlefield, reveal the top card of your library, and if it's land, you get to place it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, it just gets added to your hand. Either way, it's a good way to help the ramp, and that's what blue-green wants to do. Next, I use a big beat stick. I have the Inkwell Leviathan. This 7/11 comes in on 9. Has Trample and Island Walk and Shroud. So Island Walk cannot be blocked as long as the defending player controls an island. Shroud cannot be the target of spells or abilities. So it's like, I think, Hexproof Plus. Big monster. Good stuff. We run 4 copies of Kiora's Follower. And again, you tell one of them is from the set with the deck. The rest are from, again, I want to say that set is Theros. Either way, 2/2 on 2. Untap another target permanent. This is good if you've already gone in for the big swing and you want something like that behemoth to go ahead and block for you. You can go ahead and untap it. Next up, we're going to run 3 copies Lore Scale Codal. And yeah, I do somehow have a shiny one. I'm not sure if I just pulled that or if that was, yeah, I must have pulled it. Has a set symbol. 2/2 on 3, mixed bag again. Whenever you draw a card, you may place a 1/1 counter on it. So, of course, the longer you have these in play, the better they get. We do have 1 copy of a Nimbus Swimmer. 1 of each, then X is a flying and enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it. So, yeah, pretty cool. Next up, we have 2 copies of Omen Speaker. Very cool wizard. 1/3 on 2. When enters the battlefield, scry 2. So again, you get to look at the top two of your deck, decide if you want them at the top or the bottom, and place them there in any order you choose. So it's very good. Next, since we got to play a bunch of big stuff, the Scourge of Fleets. It's going to be a 6/6 on 7. When enters the battlefield, return each creature the opponent controls with toughness X or less. Return it to the owner's hand, where X is the number of islands you currently control. Again, we can control up to 10 the way this deck is built right now. So yeah, it gets a little weird. We are going to have 2 copies of the Sealock Monster. It's going to be a really big octopus. It's going to be a 5/5 on 5. Cannot attack unless defending player does control an island. So a little bit different from the island walk ability, but great defender nonetheless. You can play Monstrosity 3. If this creature isn't monstrous, you may place 3 1/1 counters on it, and it becomes monstrous. And it will be for that 7. And then when Sealock Monster becomes monstrous, target land becomes an island in addition to its additional types. And again, Magic players, for the sake of argument, is it an island in name only, or is it an island in the fact that it can choose to create blue mana? I think it's just name. I think it's just how this monster was supposed to do its job and get over there. But you guys let me know. Next, we're going to play 1 copy of the Shipbreaker Kraken. Again, cool thing. Love this. 6/6 on 6. Monstrosity 4 on 8. Again, Monstrosity turns monstrous plus an amount of 1/1 counters to the degree. When this one becomes monstrous, tap up to 4 target creatures. Those creatures do not tap during their controller's untap steps for as long as you control this. So essentially think about them as being permanently frozen in terror. And to be fair, that thing's pretty big, so I might too. We do have a copy of the Simic Sky Swallower. I'm getting too excited. I'm trying to, getting dyslexic and trying to pronounce the wrong word first. It's going to be a mixed bag 7. 6/6 flying trample with shroud. So again, cannot be the target of spells or abilities. Very good stuff. Dude, I've always had a problem pronouncing Tromocratus or Tromocratus. I'm not sure. It's 8/8 on 7. Has hexproof unless it's currently attacking or blocking. That is his weak time. He cannot be blocked unless all creatures defending player controls block it. So if they choose like, no, I would only throw 3 in front of him, well then you can't block him. Going into the regular spells now, 2 copies of Aetherize. This instant casts on 4 and allows you to return all attacking creatures to the owner's hand. Good way to defend yourself against a big board swing. 4 copies of Accumulated Knowledge. This instant casts on 2. Draw a card, then draw cards equal to the number of cards with this name in all graveyards. Hence the Accumulated Knowledge portion. This was very good at the time this was originally printed, because blue decks were obviously going to play this. And if you played a lot of the non-standard formats like I did at the time, Two-Headed Giant tag teams playing this in both of their decks allowed us to just draw way better. Next up, 1 copy Mystic Genesis. 2 blue, 1 green, 2 other. Counter target spell. Place an XX green ooze onto the battlefield where X is the spell's converted mana cost. So again, the bigger the thing that you negate, the bigger the token that comes out. It's not bad. Next up, 1 copy Plasm Capture. 2 each of the blue and the green. Counter target spell. At the beginning of your next pre-combat main phase, add X mana in any combination of colors to the mana pool where X is the spell's converted mana cost. So again, it's just a matter of redirecting energy and then countering out our opponent's spells. Next, we're going to play 2 copies of Voyage's End. It's just going to be another instant on 2. Return target creature to the owner's hand with a scry 1. So it's a good little quick peek at the future. We're going to run 2 copies of Explore. Now that we're into the sorceries, they're going to be a little more potent. This lets you play an additional land the turn that you play this spell, as well as to draw 1 card. So again, it's all about the ramp, as is the Explosive Vegetation. On 4, search your library for up to 2 basic land, place them into play tapped, shuffle. 2 copies of the Urban Evolution spell card. Again, you can see some of them are not from the structure deck, it's just modified. Draw 3 cards. You may play an additional land this turn. So again, just you gotta love it when you can draw cards, especially when you have the green ramp help to get a lot more mana. Last card, I'm using 1 copy of the Whelming Wave. Not the Underwhelming Wave, not the Overwhelming Wave, but just perfectly whelmed. Casts on 4, return all creatures to their owner's hands, except for Krakens, Leviathans, Octopuses instead of Octopi, and Serpents. And I understand the reason why they did this, why they had to go Octopuses, is because you can't just imagine that people playing a game are going to know that if you say Octopi, they're going to go, well, no card says Octopi on it. So it does make sense why I had so many of those big cards now. The Whelming Wave basically just says reset, except for mine. And again, to me, at the time that I built this, this was a wonderful look into what I thought Kiora would do as a Planeswalker. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this build. For some of you, this is maybe new cards, especially if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player and that's your only game that you play. And for the MTG players, hopefully this was a nice little visit down memory lane for you. Either way, guys, I hope that you enjoyed it. Maybe we'll have another one next week. We might be taking a break from the non-Yu-Gi-Oh decks here for a short time, just to make sure that we are getting more speed duel content on the channel. There's a lot of decks still to cover before the next release, and I just want to make sure that I do the due diligence and get the players what they come to the channel for. So for now, my friends, you guys have a wonderful day. Hopefully, this is a good start to a great week for you, and I can't wait to see you guys again next time, all right? Later.